I greet you all and welcome you to the lesson. The subject is auditing and assurance. Today we are going to start on a new topic known as audit planning. This topic has 8 subtopics, which are 1. Purpose and challenges in audit planning. 2. Planning for new and existing clients. 3. Development of the overall audit strategy. 4. Contents of audit planning. 5. Relationship between audit strategy and audit plan. 6. Design of audit programs, importance and problems of the programs. 7. Impact of material misstatements on audit strategy and degree of work done. Then lastly, number 8, we have influence of interim audit work on the year end. These are 8 subtopics. Today we begin with the first one, which is the purpose and challenges of audit planning. Purpose and challenges in audit planning. These are 2 things, purpose and challenges. And candidates, first of all, what is an audit plan or what is audit planning? These are 2 words, audit and planning. So planning, candidates, or a plan is a predetermined course of action. A plan is a predetermined course of action. That is to mean that you determine something in advance before doing it. That is a plan. Before doing anything, you have to have figured out what is it that you are going to do. And when you put it down, then we say that is an audit. That is a plan. The same applies to auditing. Before you start carrying out or performing an audit, before planning or before embarking or performing an audit, the auditors are required to have a plan, a predetermined course of action that will help them carry out the audit, because auditing itself is a process. Auditing is a process. That is to mean that there are various stages in the audit process, and therefore it's very important for the auditor to first of all come up with an audit plan, which is very critical. It is a critical initial phase in any audit engagement, which sets the stage for a successful and effective audit. And it involves developing an overall strategy and a detailed approach for the nature, timing, and also the extent of the audit procedures. So it is a detailed approach. A plan, an audit plan is a detailed approach for the nature, timing, and also the extent of the audit procedures. Before the auditor expresses an opinion on the financial statements, the auditor has to gather appropriate sufficient evidence. And that evidence can only be gathered by the auditor carrying out audit procedures on various aspects of the financial statements. So then, what is the purpose of an audit plan? Let's begin with the purpose. What is the purpose of audit planning? Now, the primary purpose or purposes of audit planning would include ensuring, number 1, ensuring effectiveness and efficiency. One purpose is to ensure efficiency and effectiveness. To ensure effectiveness. That is one purpose. That means to make sure the audit is conducted effectively and efficiently, meaning it achieves its objectives while making optimal use of resources. So that's why it's important to come up with a plan, so that the resources that the auditor has, like time, personnel, and tools, are properly utilized, are optimally utilized. So that's one primary purpose, to ensure efficiency and effectiveness. The second purpose of audit planning is that an audit plan helps the auditor to focus on important areas. Focus on important areas. A plan helps the auditor to focus on important areas. It helps to direct the auditor's attention to the most critical areas of the audit, especially those with a higher risk of material misstatements. That is the second purpose. The third purpose of audit planning is to identify potential problems early. Identify problems early. Identify potential problems early. That is what an audit plan is intended to achieve. It is to promptly identify and resolve potential problems or obstacles that might arise during the audit process. So that's why it's important to come up with a plan which can help identify potential problems early. Purpose number 4 is in relation to resource allocation. Proper resource allocation. A plan can facilitate proper resource allocation. That means to allocate appropriate resources to specific audit areas based on their risk and complexity, including assigning suitable team members with the necessary expertise. During planning, the auditor can allocate resources properly, and one resource is the audit team members, who are then allocated to the areas that they are well suited to perform. That is purpose number 4. Purpose number 5 is in relation to coordination, which is to coordinate work. A plan can help coordinate work. Coordination, because remember I said earlier that an audit is a process and there are various stages, there are various parties, there are many activities. All these activities require coordination. It is a plan that then helps to coordinate all these activities. And to properly coordinate the work of the audit team members, there has to be a plan including any specialists that will be involved. You understand? Yes. Coordination of work. Point number 6 is that an audit plan can help avoid misunderstanding. Avoid misunderstanding. A plan can help to avoid misunderstandings. That means to establish a clear understanding of the terms of the engagement with the client, thereby avoiding misunderstandings. You understand? To avoid misunderstandings, it's important to have a plan. 7, comply with standards. Audit plans are developed so as to comply with standards. That means to ensure that the audit complies with the relevant auditing standards like international standards on auditing and regulatory requirements. The regulatory requirements and professional standards may require an auditor to have a plan. We have international standards on auditing or planning. So when an auditor develops a plan, then that auditor is complying with the standards. Assessment. Risk assessment. One purpose of audit planning is to conduct a thorough risk assessment to identify and assess risks of material misstatement, which then informs the design of audit procedures. So that's another purpose of having a plan. It helps in risk assessment. It helps in risk assessment. A plan can also help to set objectives and scope. Set objectives and scope. It may help to set objectives and scope because the plan may clearly define the audit objectives and also the scope, outlining what will be audited and how the audit will be carried out. Setting objectives and scope. Client understanding. Building of client understanding is yet another purpose. The purpose of coming up with an audit plan is to gain comprehensive understanding of the client's business, industry, internal controls, and also the overall environment. So candidates, these are 10 purposes of audit planning. Let's move to the challenges of audit planning. Challenges. What are the challenges that the auditor may encounter in the process of developing an audit plan? Now, despite its role, audit planning comes with several challenges, which include complex and evolving regulatory environment. Regulatory environment. The regulatory environment is not static. It is always evolving. And auditors must constantly keep up with the new and changing regulations, accounting standards, and also compliance requirements, which vary across different industries and jurisdictions. So that can be challenging. Number 2, data management and availability. Data management and availability. Large and complex organizations often have vast amounts of data stored in different systems, and gathering and also validating and analyzing relevant and complete and accurate data can be time consuming and challenging. And incomplete or inaccurate data can also lead to unreliable audit findings. So during planning, data management and availability can also be a challenge. 3, we have time constraints. When developing plan, the audit requires time, and we know time is a resource which can be limited. So there is the question of time constraints and also meeting the deadlines. Tight deadlines. Time constraints and tight deadlines. That is a challenge that is associated with audit planning. Auditors frequently operate under strict deadlines, especially during peak audit seasons, and this can make it difficult to perform thorough planning and also gather all the necessary information and execute the audit without compromising quality. Time constraints and tight deadlines. 4, scope creep. Scope creep. Now, the audit scope can expand beyond its initial boundaries. When starting to develop the audit plan, the scope may be known, but as time goes by, the scope may extend. That's what we are calling scope creep, right? And managing scope creep requires clear communication and flexibility, which can be very challenging to the auditor. 5, resource constraints. When planning, the auditor may be constrained in terms of resources like the personnel and financial, the budget, and so on. And audit firms may face limitations in terms of availability of skilled staff and also the budget, and this can impact the ability to assign the right personnel, to dedicate sufficient time, and also utilize advanced tools. Because during planning, that is when the auditor has to allocate resources, as we saw in point number 4 here. These resources may be constrained. The auditor may not have enough qualified, skilled personnel to handle the audit engagement, and that constraint is a challenge. Resource constraint. Lack of cooperation, number 6, of cooperation. Lack of cooperation or communication. Lack of cooperation means non-cooperation from client management and also employees, or just poor communication can hinder the planning process and delay the timely provision of necessary information. Number 7, the 7th challenge is understanding client's business. Understanding client's industry, client's business, and so on. Understanding client's business, understanding client's industry, that can be a challenge, what we call industry complexity. So gaining an in-depth understanding of the complex business operations, the specialized industries, or even intricate financial instruments can be challenging to the auditor, and that requires specialized knowledge and significant effort on the part of the auditor. That is point number 7, challenge number 7. Challenge number 8 is in relation to risk. Assessing audit risk accurately can be a challenge. Assessing risk accurately. For the auditor to come up with the proper audit plan, then the auditor first of all has to accurately assess the audit risk. But we know assessing the audit risk accurately can be a challenge. Accurately assessing inherent risk, control risk, and fraud risk requires significant professional judgment and can be difficult, especially in dynamic environments or with a new client, and that is a challenge. Number 9, impact of technology. What do we mean by impact of technology? How is impact of technology a challenge in developing audit plans? Now, while technology offers opportunities, keeping up with new technologies used by the clients, for example, where the client is using advanced IT systems or artificial intelligence or blockchain, and adopting audit processes to leverage or audit such technologies can be a challenge. If the auditor is not IT savvy, then he may not be able to audit advanced tools that are used by the client. So that is a challenge. Impact of technology. 10. Internal control weaknesses. Internal control weaknesses. That means identifying and evaluating the effectiveness of internal controls can be complex, especially in organizations with weak or poor documented control environment. So when the auditor is auditing a company that has weak internal controls, then that auditor is likely to have a challenge in developing an audit plan for such an organization. Then we can discuss resistance to change as a challenge in audit planning. Resistance to change. Resistance to change. Organizations may be resistant to changes suggested by auditors. When you are auditing company A, and as an auditor you are making suggestions to make improvements or changes, that company may resist such changes and complicate the planning and execution of the audit, especially regarding process improvements or control enhancements. That is all for today's lesson on purpose and challenge of audit planning. In this lesson, we set to discuss the purpose and also challenges in audit planning. The first purpose is to ensure efficiency and effectiveness. Number 2, to focus on important areas. Number 3, to identify potential problems early. Number 4, audit plans can be used to allocate resources accurately or properly. Number 5 is to coordinate work. Number 6, avoid misunderstanding. Number 7, developing audit plans helps in complying with the standards. Number 8, risk assessment. Number 9 is setting objectives and scope. And lastly, building client understanding. Then challenges. There are 11 challenges here. 1 is related to complexity and evolving regulatory environment. Number 2, data management and availability. Number 3, time constraints and tight deadlines. Number 4, scope creep. Number 5, resource constraints. Number 6, lack of cooperation. Number 7, understanding client's business and industry complexity. Number 8, assessing audit risk accurately can be challenging. Number 9, there is the impact of technology. Number 10, weak internal control systems. Number 11, resistance to change by organizations. So thank you for attending our today's lesson on purpose and challenges in audit planning. And candidates, effective audit planning, as we close, you need to note that it requires proactive approach, it requires continuous improvement, and the deep understanding of the auditing standards and the client's specific requirements. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.